We're going to go a little bit fast. I do have a lot of information to share. But again, my name is James Hemphill. I'm right here in Everett, Washington, and I'm so happy to have you here. I'm glad you found the link to join us, and there was no issues getting in. So we're just going to give everybody about another minute, and we'll get started because I know it's a Wednesday evening, and you probably had a long day at work, and we want to get through this and answer any questions. But we do have on the call tonight my assistant Sarah, and she'll be watching the chat and answer any questions and also be there to assist you. Also on the call is one of our most preferred lenders, and that's Miss Susan Romay, and she's here as well to answer any of those lending specific questions. So if your intention is to get information today that you can act on and take action right away, well, you're in the right place. So Miguel, we're CTAC. So what do you do for work?
Work for King County Metro.
Okay, nice.
Yes, I'm a
Fantastic.
transit driver,
Very
operator.
nice.
Yes,
Very nice.
yes. Yeah.
Do
Been doing
you
that
do you
for
ever do the trains as well, or
no,
just the
just the bus right now. Just the bus.
okay?
Looking. Yeah, just been driving for the last
Hmm.
off and on, but almost 10 years.
Okay,
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hello, Annie from Dallas. Wow, we got somebody from Dallas here. That's awesome. We're big time here out here in the West Coast. I see Carlos has joined us. Welcome, everyone. Again, when we get started, we wanted to go through all this great information as quickly as possible. So, but it doesn't mean we're going to rush through it. But if you have any questions specific to the content in the meeting, please be sure to drop that in the chat feature while we're all coming in. Let us know in the chat where you're joining us from. We would love to know where you're coming to us from tonight. Again, my name is James Hemphill. I am a licensed realtor right here in wonderful Everett, Washington. And again, if you are joining us while you're driving, please make sure that you're being safe and don't text and drive. We love it if you have your camera on so we can actually see your face, but you may have had a long day at work and hey, being on camera might just be something that say, hey, I ain't got time for that right now. So I totally understand, but we want to make sure that if you're driving, thank you for joining us, but just be safe and just be in listen only mode. Again, drop your questions in the chat at any time. This is all about information only. I mean, it's education, but it's not a sales pitch. Even though again, I am a licensed realtor, and we do have a mortgage professional on the call with us to answer your questions. So just know that the most important thing is we want to give you information that you can act on, and again, let the sales part take care of itself later. Again, if you stay to the end, we do have some free benefits we want to share with you, and also provide you with your next best step. Everybody's situation is different, so we don't want to just put everybody into one box. Your situation may be unique, and that's where having a consultation with a real estate professional or a mortgage professional can be very, very beneficial. And again, tonight's call is all about clarity and not about pressure. Now, who's this class for? Now, this class is for anyone who's thinking about buying a home in the next 6 to 18 months. You might be in a situation where you need to buy a home sooner. And if that's the case, then absolutely, we can help you with that situation. But if you want facts and not hype, this class is for you. If you don't want to make a potential $50,000 mistake, that is something where you definitely want to be in this class. And again, you want someone that's in your corner and got your back. Class is for you. What it's not for is for house flippers or get rich quick thinkers or people looking for shortcuts. Title this webinar, The 5 Costly Home Buying Mistakes That Could Cost You Thousands. I've been in this business for over 10 years now, and I feel like I've perfected my craft and I've understood there's five really things that will cost you money in the home buying process. And again, I want to arm and equip you with that information so that when you're ready to buy a home, you don't make this same problem because typically that's exactly what is going through the mind of some people. They don't know what they don't know, and they just want to know, how do I not screw this up? And so, in my experience, people don't screw things up. They really just don't know what the right order is. And tonight, we're going to show you what the right order is to give you the optimum opportunity to purchase a home with the best terms, at the best rates, and at the best time. Sound fair? All right, fantastic. Hello from Redmond. Thank you for being here. Yes, Miguel, we can see you. Welcome. So, buying a home, there may be just a ton of different emotions that are going through your mind and your body. You're feeling stress or whatever, but maybe you're feeling confused about the whole process, maybe a little bit overwhelmed, nervous about prices or interest rates. Affordability is what we're talking about. Maybe you're just unsure of where to even start. That could be a real situation that you're feeling. The uncertainty can be paralyzing. So we want to have a clear goal in this meeting, and a simple goal is that by the end of the class, you'll be able to say five things or phrases with confidence. And it's like, okay, I got this now. I know the right order. I know what to plan for. I'm not guessing anymore. And if you're doing this alone or with a partner, you can look at yourself in the mirror or them and say, we got this. That's the goal. Again, I want to mention that we do have some goodies for you. If you stay to the end, you don't want to miss that. So hang with me and we'll get through this content. And we'll, again, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. My assistant Sarah is on. She's watching and she can be able to be a great benefit to you all the way through this meeting. Yeah, my name is James Hemphill. I do have my credentials and the things that, can seem impressive on paper. But again, this is not about me. It's about you. But again, I think it's also helpful to share with the audience exactly what it's all about in terms of how I go about serving my clients and serving them well. So I am local in Everett. I do help first-time home buyers and move-up buyers. So that means that if you have a home to sell and you're looking to buy a home at the same time, we have mastered that art as well. Something where it's like I'm the one Avenger that didn't make the cut. I'm the calm commander, and that's my style of leadership. So it's something that I kind of wear with a badge of honor. Why did I get into real estate? I'm not a first generation realtor. I'm actually a supply chain manager at heart. I've been in that business for, man, over 20 years, and I made the switch to real estate about 10 plus years ago. But I am from Ohio. I'm a big Buckeye fan. I relocated to Washington in 2009, and I'm a servant leader in my church, in my community. Me and my family, we love to travel. I'm an avid golfer, and as you can probably see in the background, I have done a few Lego builds. Star Wars is the theme that I'm really loving right now, but I do work to live and not live to work. But again, I talked about first-time home buyers. These are the type of faces that are on my clients after we're done taking care of business. And whether it's condos or manufactured homes or single family residences, townhomes, there's not much that I haven't seen in this business. And this is what I love about the job is the real impact that you get on people's faces in their lives when they're looking for that first home. They're looking to put down roots. This is gives me tremendous joy and follow up with a review. They let me know how I'm doing. So, hey, it is something to brag about when someone can say that, hey, you helped us buy a house or you helped my family when others couldn't help. Same thing with these groups of lovely people. This is just a little bit of some of the people that I've helped in the past. And so it just brings joy to my heart. Now, back to why we're here tonight. So over the years of helping hundreds of buyers fail because of don't have the right order or we don't have the real numbers. And we don't really have that long-term plan to really get through the transaction successfully. And tonight fixes all of that. Again, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. We're going to get right into the heart of the matter. And we're going to start with mistake number one. And that starts with not exploring all buyer programs early. Now, right here in Washington State, there are several programs that can either reduce or eliminate your down payment, help you with your closing costs, increase accessibility to housing. But the catch is you must look before you shop for homes. The right order definitely matters. And again, raise your hand if you like the idea of losing or leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. Uh-huh. I think that's a great answer. There shouldn't be anybody that says they want to leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table. So what is a first-time home buyer program? So our first-time home buyer programs are specific to the location of the home. They are dependent upon your income. They may have interest rates that are more favorable than market rates, and some are on 100% financing. So what does that look like in practice? So we're going to use Johnny as an example. So Johnny wants to buy a house and he's looking at a price point around 475. He's going to be using an FHA loan, which is going to include also upfront mortgage insurance or MI costs. But the minimum down payment on that FHA loan would be $16,625. So minus that down payment, the total loan amount is 466, 396. Down payment assistance program, one of them that exists is 4%, and that will give Johnny 18,655. That amount will cover his entire down payment, and then that would leave him with $2,030 left over for closing costs. That's a pretty good deal, right? So how do first-time home buyer programs work? Well, again, there are some of them that will provide that assistance. Some of them are based upon the kind of job that you do. So first responders, educators, et cetera, et cetera. Again, we have our mortgage professional on that can speak more in detail about that. You may be able to even stack programs up, multiple ones on top of each other. So that's really, really awesome. Now, there are two ugly facts when it comes down to dealing with banks and dealing with the offer process. Now, most big banks, they're not going to be the specialist in the first time home buyer programs and down payment assistance programs. It's just a fact, and it's just something that a specialist is someone that can really dig deep into the programs that best fit your situation versus just a one size fits all loan option. And when you're making offers, sellers agents, they love seeing pre-approvals from local lenders versus a big bank. And you can't blame them because sometimes the lenders are in a different time zone, and it's just a little bit more of a complex situation when you're trying to work something out with somebody locally. If a buyer is going to be paying over time, meaning they need to get pre-approved or approved for a mortgage, they're going to have to talk to a lender. And again, most lenders are going to require you to complete certain tasks. And those tasks are required in order to move the transaction forward. So there's going to be bank statements and tax returns and pay stubs and all that good stuff. And speaking of the mortgage side of the business, I would like to introduce you all to a good friend and preferred lender, Susan Romay. Susan,
James. Hi,
how are
everyone.
you? Hello.
Welcome to tonight. I hope to provide you with some great information. And yes, my name's Susan Romay. I'm with Banner Bank. We are a local lender. I'm located in the Edmonds area, so South Snohomish County. I have been providing financing options and client consultations since 1986. Yes, that is 1986. So it's been a couple of years. I love working with first-time home buyers. My first-time home buyers from the 90s or move up buyers, and I'm actually talking to their children now who are buying homes. One of the things we really want you to know about is the down payment assistance programs. It still amazes me the number of folks that are not aware of what's out there. Even the real estate community, the Washington
Mhm.
State Housing Finance Commission is the location, and we commonly refer to them as WishFic. They are the keeper of a large percentage of the down payment assistance programs. And again, there's various programs based on various criteria. So it's
Mhm.
wide ranging. There's also grant programs offered by the Federal Home Loan Bank Board. There are, I'm aware of some down payment assistance offered through nonprofits such as Parkview Services for folks with that they themselves or a family member may have an intellectual disability. So there are different programs out there, and my time at helping clients and being so involved in the mortgage area has helped me learn about the various programs out there. And then the stacking, as James referred to. In some cases, we can use a WishFic first and second mortgage down payment assistance, and then maybe get grant funds from the Federal Home Loan Bank Board. So yeah, there's a lot of them out there, and the message is to it's hard for you to know all of them, but to know that they are out there so that when you are speaking with your lender, when you are speaking to somebody, you ask them to tell me about the down payment assistance programs so we can figure out which ones
Mhm.
are right for you. And if they don't know about the down payment assistance programs, well, continue your conversations. But
That's right.
thank you, James.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that, Susan. And I'll tell you flat out that I've been in the business again over a decade, and some of the programs that we've talked about, I wasn't aware of, and that's a shame. And so that's why we do these things, and that's why we want to share knowledge and information so that it can help the community as a whole. Again, you may not end up working with us specifically, but we would hope that if you are looking to make a home purchase, educate yourself, arm yourself with as much information as possible. You can connect with Susan. Her contact information is on the screen. And so again, we want to just keep it moving, but again, we want to come with value versus just asking you for your business. So we want to earn your business. And part of earning your business is giving you information that you can decide because it just makes sense. So moving right along into our presentation, let's look at mistake number two. That's buyers doing the right things, but in the wrong order. Again, most buyers are not setting out with the goal of messing things up, but you don't know what you don't know. And that's why realtors and mortgage lenders exist. So, thinking about getting things in the wrong order, let's think about baking a cake. Maybe you've seen a baker or some baking show on TV, and they just start pulling out ingredients and putting this there and that there, a dash of this, a dash of that, and they're like just rocking and rolling. You say, "Well, hey, that looks delicious. I can do that myself." Well, sometimes it's not that easy. And if you get the order wrong, you're going to probably have an edible item, but it's just not going to be exactly what you're looking for. A fail, So this is still technically a cake, but it's not really a cake. And so we want to make sure that you don't end up in that situation where you're getting into a failed experience because you got the wrong order, even though you had the right intentions. So, what's the recipe for buying the wrong house? So, let's start with doom scrolling Zillow for 3 years. And you may ask yourself, what's wrong with doom scrolling Zillow? Well, what happens in that situation is that you can inadvertently disqualify yourself from homes and neighborhoods that are actually attainable. When you see those estimates or zestimates and you see the price for renting or owning and the cost between the two, you would say, I could never afford that. But when you mix in the information of down payment assistance and grants and different programs, those things that you thought were not attainable are. And if you're not doom scrolling Zillow, you're going to get curious and maybe walk into a open house or call on the for sale sign because you think that the listing agent is going to give you the best deal. And I'm going to tell you right now that the listing agent is duty bound by contract to represent the seller the best. So you go in there, you tell the listing agent that, hey, yeah, I'd like to get the best deal possible. I mean, maybe I can get this house for $450,000, but I got a pre-approval for 500. That listing agent is going to take that information back to the seller. So going at it alone can be a problem. Maybe it's thinking about walking into that builder model. I see they have some incentives. They got all the flags and the balloons out. That could be a problem too. And then finally, after all of that, you just get tired. You get tired, you get fatigued, and you just walk into a builder or an open house, and then you buy something that's not the best deal for you. So that leads us into mistake number three, and that's getting stuck into that builder's marketing machine. And what that looks like is there's going to be two people that you'll meet at an open house or a builder's model home. And that's going to be the handsome sales dude, or it's going to be the friendly sales lady. Now, the handsome sales dude, and you may have met one of these type of persons in your experience of maybe looking for a home before, but that person's going to end up running for office one day. Very smooth talking, dresses well, smells good, drives a suspiciously nice car, says it's fine a lot when you ask questions. And so what happens is he's worried about his quarterly bonus. He's just worried about the numbers. He's not really concerned about getting you the best deal. Conversely, this friendly sales lady, she can talk to a wall. She can just blab on about this and that. She's going to definitely know the name of your dog and your kids and where they go to school after you've been there for 5 minutes and whatnot. But then all of a sudden, you find yourself signing a 50-page contract. Like, how did I get here? Well, again, she's going to be pulling on those heartstrings because she's got commission breath. She's solely dependent upon selling this house to whomever, not the right person. So the things that you may not know or the things that can hurt your loan status or situation of affordability on a monthly payment basis, like HOA dues or other fees, sewerage capacity charges, these are the things that I'm not going to tell you about because once again, she represents the builder. He represents the builder. And that's what we want to make sure that you're aware of. But new construction is a good product. I mean, we have some great builders here in Washington, and I definitely worked in new construction space as well. So we want to arm you with some information, some winning tactics, tips, and tricks for working with the builders. And so again, a lot of time this inventory is lagging behind, and you want to look for the ones that the builder has completed, and they want to get them off their books. The builder is just like a car salesman; they got inventory they need to move, so those could be good opportunities for you. And always act like you could just walk away at any time can help you as well when it comes to dealing with the builder. Now, I know we're going to be here about an hour or so, so just want to make sure if you have to leave early, I know things come up, you can book some time on my calendar anytime throughout this call or afterwards. You can scan the code or Sarah can put the link in the chat box. And if you want to get some time on my calendar just to go deeper because what's being shared today is starting to make sense and you want to take that next step to get some more information, by all means, please feel free to do so. And let's move on to next mistake number four. So when I talked about earlier about the real numbers, sometimes people just get spooked. And literally, I've met with buyers, friends of other clients, like they're even their children who are thinking about they want to buy their first house. And they're like, man, it costs this much to get into a home. And we call that getting spooked or intimidated by the numbers. And again, it can all be confusing until it's explained properly. And the good news is many buyers don't pay what they think they'll pay. So all baked into that cake of doing it right when it comes to buying a house leads us into this mistake number four. Again, escrow, earnest money, inspection fee, mortgage insurance, closing cost. All these things are the ingredients that go into it. Again, it's going to be confusing. It may be the first time you've seen these terms, but again, we're going to explain that to you today so you can walk away with clarity. After you sign the purchase and sell agreement, you're going to enter into something what's called escrow. And you may ask yourself, what's involved with escrow? Well, that's going to be where you're going to be putting your earnest money deposit. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. But we want to make sure, again, explain these things step by step so you can walk away with some more knowledge than you came with. But what goes into the first step of that escrow is the closing costs, and the mortgage lenders are starting to put the paperwork together. Is there going to be fees from title, the lender, again, rate buy downs if we negotiate that for you, HOA fees, one-time funding fees. These are going to be specific to VA loans. If you're a military veteran, thank you for your service. But there are fees that go into that loan product, upfront mortgage insurance costs for FHA loans, or a guarantee fee for USDA, which is our rural loan product based upon the location of the home. Then there'll be prepaid taxes and insurance. The one thing about closing costs and everything that's going to go into your escrow account is that they vary. So again, it depends on all the down payment, the credit, the other fees and whatnot. So these are the necessary truths that you need to hear about so that you can arm yourself and be prepared to make a purchase. So yes, there's a lot of down payment programs that can help with the down payment or eliminate it altogether, but these costs are baked into what goes into your escrow file when you go under contract. They are expensive. I mean, it is what it is. These are things that we can't control. These are, set fees because again, everybody's got a job to do in this process. But the silver lining to it all is a lot of times we can get someone else to pay for them. And I know that's a really good thing that you probably didn't know that. But yes, someone else can pay for these closing costs. And we want to make sure that you understand that the first thing about going into this business of buying a home and having proper representation, I am a realtor, a member of the National Association of Realtors, and my duty, just on the converse of the seller's agent, as a buyer's agent, I'm here to negotiate strong on your behalf. So seller concessions and why these are in existence and how they're handled is all predicated off of how your realtor or your agents that represent you. These are where the seller is going to be paying for these costs. Do they do them automatically? Absolutely not. This is where your realtor is going to negotiate and leverage your preparedness and your files looking great, your pre-approvals from a local lender. Susan's got you taken good care of, and this is how we negotiate the best on your behalf. And again, it's all about the process of buying a home. Sometimes these concessions can be advertised up front, just like what the builders do, or sellers offering a concession that's going to go towards your broker fee and things of that nature. And sometimes, again, they're negotiated as part of the purchase agreement. But before we get into all of that good stuff, sometimes, or you may have thought this may have come up sooner or later, but we're going to start talking about credit. Now, if you're concerned about your credit score, relax. We understand we all have a life and we've all lived up to this point, and you may have made some mistakes in the past. We're just coming out of high school or just coming out of college, and you get all these credit card applications, buy this, buy that, and you don't have to pay it till later, or we'll give you a free frisbee for opening up a credit account or whatever. Don't worry about it. We got you. We understand it's going to be fine. But there are some best practices and some rules that I want you to walk away with. First thing first, consult with your lender first. Yes, I'm your realtor. Susan's your lender, but the lender has the tools. They have I like to call it the magic computer. They can put that into their computer. They can figure out what's going on with your credit file so that you can know what to pay off, what not to pay off, what to just continue to pay over time, what credit accounts you might need. But it all starts with consulting with your lender first. The second takeaway is don't be a hero. Okay, you may think that closing out an account could help you because now I don't have as much debt, but you might need that trade line. That's what a line of credit or a trade line. You might need that one to get your loan approved because not all credit accounts or trade lines report to all bureaus. So we want to make sure, and if you don't understand what the bureaus are and all that good stuff, it's okay. We got you covered. That's why we want you to consult with your mortgage professional first. Okay. All right. So now let's get into there's five really kind of basic steps to buying a house. Again, they start with cost. And again, we're going to help you to break it down. You might want to have a handy dandy notepad and pen handy so you can keep track of what these may be at this stage right here. But we're going to give you some really good ballpark figures that you can walk away with and understand what the costs are in terms of buying a house. And again, the first part might be how much is it going to be to work with you guys? Well, the good news is it's absolutely nothing. And when I mean absolutely nothing, I mean it's absolutely nothing. My fee, Susan's fee, or any mortgage professional's fee, or any realtor's fee, nobody should be charging you to do a consultation. Everything that we do up until this point is always going to be no obligation. You don't owe me anything. So if you don't qualify for a loan, we don't get paid. If you don't close on that loan, we don't get paid. Even if it takes a little bit longer, like a year or more, we're still here to help you out. Okay. So when we think about executing that purchase and sell agreement, you're going to be asked to make two payments. Okay. One is going to be your earnest money deposit, and that's going to be about 1% of the sales price, excuse me. It's a point of negotiation. It's like your skin in the game or a good faith deposit. It shows the seller that you have serious interest in the home and it's legitimate. But the good news is it's fully refundable based upon, you executing, the contract the way you promised to. And then there's going to be a home inspection fee. And that ranges between 5 to 750. It's all based upon the style of the home, different, roofing and but the complexity of the home, if they have the crawl space and all that kind of stuff, can make the price range. And the size, of course, a smaller home is going to cost less, but that's an independent fee, and that's something that's going to be an out-of-pocket expense for you up front. But they're not always required, but it's always best. It's in your best interest to get one. And the reason why, excuse me, is that we want to make sure that this home is not a lemon. It is an out-of-pocket expense. And again, it's just great information to have because you don't want to get into a situation where there's issues about the house that you just can't see with the naked eye. And then you find out after you own the home. Sometimes there's going to be secondary inspections that come into play, like a septic, roof, the HVAC system. We just looked at a crack in a foundation, plumbing, et cetera, et cetera. These cost money, and a lot of times they're covered by the seller, and that's good news for you. Again, they protect you from costly problems. Who wants to move into a house and it's leaking, or they got to replace the roof, or mold is kicking in? If you have a family member with some type of special situation where mold sensitivity is there, we don't want you in that situation. So we're going to always advise you to get that home inspection. Now, the third step is where we go to work. We being the agents, the realtors in the room, we're dedicated to look at your best interest. Now, again, we've shown you homes. We've been out with them in the weekends and the nights and whatnot. But nonetheless, we have the home inspection, and there's some things that we need to look at. And the termination of the contract is where that fully refundable piece comes in, because you would get your earnest money back if the house is just in a condition that it just can't be fixed or it's not reasonable. Let's just move on. We would terminate the contract and we would start over again from back to home search. Well, what typically happens is we find 2 to 3 items that we would ask the seller to make those repairs. And those repairs will be done by a qualified contractor, and they'll be done before closing. And we'll get warranties and receipts so we know that those contractors have been paid and you got quality work that's been done. But sometimes there's a third option, and that's where the seller just doesn't have the money to make the repairs. And if that's the case, we're going to negotiate dollars off your purchase price in lieu of those repairs. And those be credited to you, and it'll reduce the cash that you need to close. So we got you covered, whether it's terminate the contract, pick 2 to 3 items, or negotiate the price to compensate so that you can make those repairs after closing. So again, we got you covered. Told you it's in our best interest. We're duty bound, and that's that's the benefit of working with a realtor. Not every agent is a realtor, and that's a shameless plug that I put out there because I'm a proud member of the NAR, and it is what it is. But the the standard of professional practices and the duty of care that we put forth to our clients is something that just comes automatic with a realtor. So after the inspection, it really goes kind of quiet. And the appraisal is going to happen next. And that's going to be the next thing that you're going to be asked to be paid by the lender's going to collect that money and it's going to go to the appraisal. That's an independent third party appraiser. The cost is around $700 to $900. But because it's quiet and because we've gotten through an inspection, you love the house and you're seeing yourself in it, this is not your cue to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. So we've got about $900. Just if you average a budget for the high end of the $900 in your appraisal fee and about $750 for your home inspection, you're about up to about $1,650. So you got about $1,650 already earmarked for your home purchase. And then 1%. Now, obviously, the range of the homes. And so if we say a $500,000 home, then we're going to want to have like 5 grand in earnest money set aside for that one. Okay, so now we're up to 6650. Okay. Again, the purchase and sell agreement has that contingency about the appraisal. And the good thing about that is that if the home doesn't appraise at value, we don't have to pay that higher price. And that's why the lenders get it done because it helps them to ensure that the purchase price is in line with the property value. Again, we got your back. After that, we get to our fifth step, and that's where it's yours. We're going into closing, and this is a very exciting time. Again, your down payment and your closing costs that are not covered by the seller, all that kind of stuff is going to go into the mix, and then, ultimately you're going to get your keys. But there are some steps that we need to handle before that, and it's going to be, you're going to have to go sign some paperwork, and it's going to be a substantial stack of paper that you're going to have to sign with the actual pen. But again, this is all part of the process and then make sure that the house is yours. Because in that process, title and escrow, they're doing their due diligence to make sure that there's no issues with title. We call those clouds on the title because you don't want to move into a home and then a month or two later, somebody knocks on your door and says, hey, my great great grandfather had promised my uncle this house when he passed, and now you got a dispute. When you go through the closing process and you sign all that paperwork, that's what's baked into that as well. That makes sure that you're safe when it comes to that. And again, all this stuff is required to get through the transaction. And so now we talk about the fifth mistake. And sometimes this should be really the first mistake, but it's you don't hire the right team, you're putting yourself at a great disadvantage. And again, we talk about potentially costing yourself up to $50,000, leaving those tens of thousands of dollars on the table. That's not good. And we want to make sure that you understand that, yes, we would love it if you would find value in working with us, but we're not the only show in town. But these are some things that you should look at when it comes down to picking the right team. Number one, any agent can open a lockbox to show you a home. That doesn't make them good or bad. It just means that anybody can do that. Any lender can take your application and run your credit. Any agent can send you homes from an online app. An experienced lender, though, doesn't just tell you how much you can borrow. They tell you, hey, what's this looking like in your lifestyle? Looking at the real payment and understanding what's really most important because you don't want to be in a home and it become like a jail. You can't even enjoy a vacation or whatever. A realtor is going to do more than just show you houses. Our job is to put on a cape and fight for you. Again, it's my job. It's our job to protect you from harm and be your calm commander. Now, again, I want to bring it up again. Again, realtors are, we're duty bound to act in your best interest. Why do we do it though? More than just duty bound is we really want to make sure that you understand the feeling of it all. I have a family, and I bought a home before I was licensed as a broker, and coming from humble beginnings in the Midwest, I didn't get to go to private school, but maybe just where you live, your kids get to go to a better school. Maybe where you live, you're going to find stronger, more robust equity gains and faster so that you could cash in on some of that equity and maybe retire sooner because of the great deal that you got. We want to make the impossible possible for you. And we can only do that by us having, a relationship. We want we want to serve you so well that you become raving fans and you tell everyone how great your realtor and lender was and that they should talk to us first. Those are the things that, and the reason why we do it. But what we get or what we want out of it is all after what you get. So it's really all about a service business. And how do we keep this all in your best interest? Again, we say when somebody says something's impossible, we say we're going to make it possible. We don't just look at the inventory that's in the MLS. We'll scour the earth for off market deals. We call in additional favors. I literally have had a situation where, based upon communication and a local lender's accessibility, we got a contract signed when we weren't the highest offer. This is real talk. We negotiate hard. We're going to be persuasive and we're going to get those maximum seller concessions. And again, we do consume copious amounts of coffee to stay alert to get the job done. Um, is everything we do going to work? Absolutely not. That's just the truth. But we do pull out all the stops until the problem submits to our will. And after it's all said and done, this is kind of how it looks, proverbially, because I'm not literally fighting with people, but your mortgage loan officer, they do a lot. They do a lot. Your agent does a lot. Believe you me. So I know it's a little funny, but let me ask you now, how are you feeling? Put it in the chat if you're feeling less confused, not so overwhelmed, less stress. Maybe you're more reassured that you got this, less uncertain. I hope so. Let us know in the chat if that's how you feel. All right, let's review what we covered tonight. The 5 costly home buying mistakes that could cost you thousands. Remember, number 1 is not exploring all buyer programs early. 2, doing the right things in the wrong order. You got that messed up cake. Getting stuck into that builder's marketing machine. Spooked or intimidated by the numbers is number 4. And not hiring the right team, aka the extra Avenger, the calm commander. All right, so I told you I'll be offering some free benefits to you. On the lending, on the realtor side, Susan and them have it all baked out already. They just amazing. I got to work hard, so I got to put all this extra stuff out there for you guys. So what I like to do is I like to offer to you and any of all my clients a VIP buyer loyalty program. And what comes with that is your full service home search and negotiations, including off market deals, financial readiness analysis and deep market insights, inspection, negotiation, and cost saving strategy, emotional support, and real time advising. It means you have access to me and the team via chat, Zoom, phone call me. Title and escrow, closing advice and coordination. Add it all up. That's about $3,600 in value. Beyond that, let's go back to Johnny. Remember Johnny? Johnny wants to buy a house for $475. We can find some deals out there for $475. There's not a lot, but we can find them. So you need to act fast. Book some time on our calendar. We can have a conversation about that. But remember, Johnny, he wanted to buy that house that had a starting price point of $475. What's Johnny doing right now? Well, Johnny's probably renting. So if you're renting and you're thinking about making that purchase, what's deep market insights mean? Well, this is what it means. I got a special computer too, just like Susan has. And I can crunch numbers really, really quickly and get you some very, very robust and accurate data. Now, again, some of this is subjective to your FICO score. And again, Susan can talk to you about FICO scores and what's your minimum qualification and whatnot. So again, we talked about credit and all that things. We don't have the time to go deep into credit, whatever. But if you have to think about buying versus renting, I want to give you some facts based upon $475,000 price point. All right. So are you going to save money versus renting day one? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not going to lie to you. Year one, you're going to spend in the total grand scheme of things. This is the total pie. So think about it this way. You're going to spend $20,000 more than when you rent. This is before any of DPAs or down payment assistance programs. But if Johnny didn't talk to us, this is what Johnny would be looking at. He'd be about $20,000 in the red year one, about $7,200 in the red year two. But year three, Johnny starts getting on the plus side of things. Why is that? Or how is that? Well, that's because on average, we're looking at appreciation of a home over the course of time. The value goes up. But hello, if you're renting right now, you probably feel this pain. Your rent goes up every year too. Because when you're paying rent, you're not just paying rent, you're paying a mortgage. You're paying your landlord's mortgage. And we want to get you out of that situation so that you can start to see a net gain. And over just 9 years, you could look at almost a $200,000 profit in terms of appreciation and equity gain. So what's the market really looking like in Snohomish County? So right now, to be honest with you, the numbers are around 690 to 756,000. And again, I like to give you the numbers on the highest end of the spectrum. That way, if we find you something lower than that, then you'll be in great shape. But this is what's happening. We're looking at a 5.4% forecasted appreciation on homes per year. That's a good deal. That's a great reason to buy a home. Builders can't keep up with the demand of the total amount of buyers that are out there. And this is the reason why we put on classes like this. We want to make sure that you understand how many people are you dealing with here. Now, there's about, nonetheless, you're probably in that sweet spot where you look at the data. There's 271,000, ish renters, but 68, almost 70,000 of you, 8% of that pie chart, you're renting, but you can afford to buy. And a lot of the reasoning why you can afford to buy is because we have the tools that you need, but not every agent is going to put the time in to do these classes. That is, Susan alluded to the wish fit classes. I mean, these are long classes that educate you, but the state has these resources available to you. You just have to talk to the right person that understands the data. And again, we look at this number here in this example, a $2,291 mortgage payment, that's going to be the same throughout the life of that loan until you refinance or do something else. But that rent's going to continue to go up. So again, this is data. I like to pull from several data points to make sure that you're getting proper information, not just hype. Again, I told you facts versus hype is what this meeting was all about. So if you look at this renting versus buying, don't take my word for it. Don't take Susan's word for it. Don't listen to your uncle. Listen to me. I'm telling you what the facts are. Buying a home is within reach. So here's some simple napkin math to make kind of make sense. If you look at what is an expert lender assistance and guidance to the programs? Well, if we look at Johnny's example, that 4% down payment assistance that's legit, right, Susan? That's real. That's the value of working with us that you could tap into right now at a bare minimum. Well, I shouldn't say a minimum. I will say based upon your situation and based upon the programs that are available, because not everybody will qualify for all the programs. But put the mortgage side and look at the realty side of things, that's almost a $31,000 value. And again, we talk about the buyer loyalty program and all that kind of stuff, but included in this is your seller concessions and your buyer brokerage compensation. Again, I love to do what I'm doing, but I do have to pay my mortgage. And so there's a fee that I collect for doing my job. But the good thing is, if you have that right representation, that fee is paid by the seller. That's pretty good, right? And then ultimately, again, we talked about that buyer loyalty program. That's over $50,000 in value that you could get from just being in a meeting like this and talking to persons like Susan and myself. Again, these figures are just estimates based upon that example scenario that we talked about. But I just wanted to put some numbers out there so you could actually see that what I'm saying, I can back it up with reasonable data. So let me ask you right now, was this a good use of your time on a Wednesday night? Type yes in the chat box. Do you feel confident in your ability to avoid the 5 big mistakes? If you do, type yes in the chat box. Do you want to know exactly what you should do next? Somebody say yes. All right. The next thing is you got one job, and it's not book an appointment, but I would like you to. But really, your job is to tell me or tell someone like me what you really want. Don't edit yourself. If you want your kids in the North Shore District or Edmonds or wherever, um, you know, tell us. I mean, I don't have school age children, so I don't know what the best schools are, except for when I do just the research. But if you really need to be in a good school district, tell us. If you really need 5 bedrooms and you think, oh, I can afford a 4, tell me I need 5 bedrooms. Tell us, and then let us worry about it. Okay. Tell us and let us worry about how to make it happen for you. Just want to say thanks for being here. We're going to be wrapping up really soon. You can connect with us on pretty much all socials, and I would love it if you gave us a good rating on this presentation. It means a whole lot to us. But again, I just want to say thanks again for being here. And if you really want to get that appointment with me, it's always best to book an appointment online. That way I'll know exactly. Sarah may reach out to you as well. But again, just want to let you know that I'm really appreciative that you're here. And if there's anything I can do to help, if there's anything that Susan can do to help, you want to know, hey, what do I need to have in terms of my credit score? Let us know. We're here to help. Um, it's not about gatekeeping. It's about sharing information and knowledge to make your buying experience better. Again, we would love to be your agent. We love to be your mortgage professional. But again, we let you know exactly what you should be asking those other agents if you are talking to somebody else. It's totally fine. We just want to make sure that you know exactly where to start. Fair enough. Are there any questions in the chat that I haven't seen? Sarah, could you let us know? Anybody have any questions that I can answer right away?
There's a new question there. Do you help anyone in the south of King County?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, yes,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you
Hmm.
for asking that, Miguel. Yeah, I am in Snohomish County, and but I've just had a listing in Tacoma. So helping folks in south of King County or South King County. Um, Believe it or not, if you were to look at my sort of performance chart that you might find on Zillow or Realtor.com, I have been to Lummi Island, I've been to Hoquiam, I've been out to Thurston County to sell houses and help people buy houses. I will go where you need me to go. So it's just about letting me know what you want. And if you need to find something on the water out there on the coast, we'll go there. Very good.
Yep. So,
Any other questions?
yep. There's one buying in Auburn or Kent. Is that possible?
Oh yeah.
From,
Hmm.
yep, Marvina.
Absolutely.
Yep. Right.
Hmm. Absolutely. Auburn and Kent, great area. Miguel
And
knows
there's
all about
another
that.
one. Mhm.
I was going to also add, in regards to the various down payment programs and stuff, the Washington State Housing Finance Commission programs, the bulk of those programs are available statewide. There's a
Mhm.
couple of them that are geographically specific, but the most of them are statewide. So that's the Federal Home Loan Bank Grant Board is statewide, and the Parkview Services Assistance is also statewide. So,
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Susan. Again, I stay in my lane. I stay in my lane and I let the mortgage people do what they do. And they just send me a pre-approval and then we go out hunting. We go out hunting. That's my thing. So thank you, Susan. Matter of fact, I wish I'd have known you when I bought my house. I'm gonna say it like that.
and it helped you, James.
I know that's right.
I was like, I help the folks get all pre-approved, lay out the numbers, give it the plan of action, and you meet with the clients, figure out the home, and then go get the best price for them and get some of those seller concessions. And we have very happy clients.
That's awesome. Yes, fantastic.
Then scroll up. There's a question from Spencer. Do you
Spencer?
help? Yep, at the top. Do you help
Okay.
for out of state? I actually responded, but yeah, you can follow up.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I have in terms of reach, I'm only licensed in Washington, but the brokerage that I'm affiliated with at EXP Realty, we have agents in 20, I think it's now 29 countries, but definitely all 50 states and territories. So if there's someone that you need to get in touch with, we can pair you with somebody that maybe you have a home to sell there or a family member needs help. Definitely just shoot them my way and we can definitely help you in another state other than Washington. But for Washington specific real estate sales, I'm your guy. Um, but we can help out of state. And Susan, do you do mortgages out of state as well, or just Washington?
Banner Bank is able to do mortgages in Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and California. So we're along the coast
Okay,
and
fantastic.
Idaho.
Hmm. Perfect. Thank you for that question, Spencer. Absolutely.
Well, it's been a great night, James. Thank you for all
Hmm.
your information. You are the calm commander in talking. I love listening to you talk. So, and I appreciate everyone who spent this hour with us. So thank you all for joining us. Thanks for your questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for being here, Susan. And again, I'll leave the meeting open and the link on the screen for a little bit longer in case there's any follow-up questions. But I really appreciate you being here. Yes, item. Yeah, thank you. Have a blessed night. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you to help you out. Just reach out if you have any questions or more information. We're always here to help. Marla's in the house. Thanks for being here, Marla. This usually happens when you have a meeting like this. You know, there would be a lot of questions that people are just afraid to ask, and then they'll come out later or ask, you know, but again, it's okay. Don't be shy. All right. All right, just a few more seconds, and then we'll just say good night to everyone. Thank you for being here. Again, my name is James Hemphill Jr. with eXp Realty, leader of the JTH Premier Homes Group right here in Everett, Washington. Susan Romay, she's with Banner Bank right there in Edmonds. You can walk in and say hi to her. Again, we'd love to be your mortgage and real estate professionals. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let's stop renting and let's start buying. Okay? Take care.